we're going to be talking about the development of Judaism. And this is the religion that served as a basis for all the daily activities for the Israelites. And many of their religious beliefs continue today. Some of them you're going to be familiar with, and some of them are going to be new to you. So let's get started.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so the Jews were sent to Babylon, and while they were in Babylon, since they were from the land of Judah, they began to be called Jews and Jewish, and so that's why we call their religion Judaism. So where are you going to worship? What is their house of worship? We've talked about many houses of worship in other religions. And so while they were in Babylon, the Jews began to meet at a synagogue. That's their house of worship. On their holy day was called the Sabbath day, and it's a little different. Around here, most of us go to church on Sunday. If you're going to go to church, that's the day that traditionally people have gone to church. But if you were in the Jewish religion, you would celebrate and worship on the Sabbath, and that would last from sundown on Friday to nightfall on Saturday. And so this tradition of worshiping in a synagogue started in Babylon, and then the Jews are going to return back to the land of Judah in 538 BC. So let's look a little closer and see what it was like to actually be in a Jewish family. All right, so as we look a little closer at Hebrew life and what it would have looked like to live in this family, we're going to look at how they would have worshipped. And we've looked at this in every religion that we've talked about so far and each culture. And so we want to continue with that and to try to understand what it would be like if you lived during this time. So if you went to the synagogue and you were going to worship, there would be what is several smaller books which make up the big book of the Hebrew Bible. And the first section would be the Torah, and that's the most important section. It's the first 5 books that have been handwritten on the scrolls. Modern day, that would be the first 5 books of the Old Testament. And so that's Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Not that we don't need to know that for the test, but just to let you know where we are. And then the second part of the Hebrew Bible was called the prophets. And this is where we get messages from God that were given to the prophets that the prophets would then give to the people. So this would be the stories that they would pass down of how they should live and moral lessons and things like that they would want their children to know and they would want to understand about their God. The last section of the Hebrew Bible was called the writings. And this would have been the books of history, poetry, and wisdom. Solomon definitely had some books written in this section because he is considered to be the wisest king. This also would have been where David had some of the books that he wrote in this, the Psalms and the songs that we talked about. Those are 2 vocabulary words, Proverbs and Psalms. So Psalms are books of poetry and worship songs that they had, and then the Proverbs were wise sayings written down by Solomon. So each of these sections makes up the whole Hebrew Bible. And each section has a different meaning for the Jewish people, and they use it in different ways in their worship. So that would be what happened for them around their synagogue. Okay, so let's see what it looks like in a Jewish family.
All right, guys, so Ms. Todrick just talked about the Hebrew Bible, and specifically I want to talk about the Torah and how that often influenced the way people lived.
She meant Ms. Hodges.
What did I say?
Ms. Todrick.
Oh, Ms. Todrick isn't even in this video. Okay, well, Ms. Hodges talked about the different parts of the Hebrew Bible. So specifically when we're talking about the Torah, or the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, it talks about the way people should live their daily life. Specifically in the Jewish family, it was believed that fathers were the leader of the household, okay? Traditional values. Okay, so they had traditional values just like other cultures we've talked about. The men were the head of the household. And in the Torah, education was strongly encouraged. So specifically with sons, education in religion and trade was very important. Now, they're still trading at this time. It's still a key part of their daily life. So, of course, they're going to be educated in that. Now, moms or women, on the other hand, they were responsible for taking care of children and staying at home and making sure the household was taken care of, while men and sons were either working or in education. Now, daughters, on the other hand, they were also educated at home They were at home, though, and it was often in religion and how to be a wife, a mother, and a housekeeper. So, traditional values that we've seen before, like other cultures, some of this may look very familiar to your own household, so maybe you can apply that and relate. All right, let's move on. All right, guys, so we're going to continue talking about the Torah and the way it encouraged people to live, specifically with dietary restrictions now. Did you know that Jewish law actually told people, the ancient Jews, what they could and could not eat? Now, by following these laws related to food, the ancient Jews believed that they were showing obedience to God. So, for Christians, they believe that obedience to God would be not saying God's name in vain. Or sometimes they do fasting. Now, to ancient Jews, and even to some people today, they believe that certain foods that they eat would be considered obedience. Now, many Jews today follow these laws and eat kosher food or food prepared in a certain way. Now, animals must be killed in a certain way, and some foods cannot be eaten at the same meal. So, actually, in today's society, you can, in some grocery stores, they would have a K with a circle around it to let people know that it is a kosher food and it was prepared a certain way. So, hopefully you guys learned something new. We are so excited about talking about familiar stories, and let's move on to the hot question.
All right, we're ready for our hot questions. Like, get into the camera here where we can see us. So today there's a lot of holidays that are observed by different religions, and so since we're looking at the Hebrews this time and the Israelites, we're going to talk about the Jewish religion.
Oh, sorry.
You can have a turn.
Today, so many people or many Jews celebrate many religious holidays or holy days throughout the year. Now, celebrating significant events in Jewish history. So,
study this chart. We got us a little chart right here. You've got this in your packet as well. And you can see some of their holidays and some of the things that they would have celebrated. So what we'd like for you to do is choose one of our holidays, and not necessarily ours, but maybe from your family, a holiday that you like, or in your family or your faith or your culture, and you need to compare and contrast these two holidays.
Now, if you don't have any holidays that you celebrate or can't think of any, why don't you try taking a holiday that we may have discussed in class, or maybe ask a friend or someone around you that you can use to help you with this.
Right, and you want to make sure that you are comparing and contrasting. Now, again, this is at least 3 to 4 sentences, possibly 5, because you have to do compare and contrast. That means similar and different. And remember, we are now starting to take major points off for incomplete or answers that are not what you're capable of. We want you guys to be the best 7th graders that you can be, and the only way you're going to get better at your writing is if you push yourself, and we're going to hold you accountable for that.
Now, guys, just because you see bullet points here doesn't mean that you don't need to write a sentence. So I agree. With Ms. Hodges, you need to be writing those sentences out. We need to be better at writing.
All right, so we will see your work, and we hope you enjoyed the great long holiday that we just finished up. Yeah, that was fun, and we love you guys, and we'll see you in class.
Bye.
Bye.